Hello, the YouTube. I don't really need to read my horoscope or read tea leaves or commune with spirits to know when there's something seriously wrong with the universe. Why? Because my Facebook tells me. And right now, my Facebook is telling me there are a lot of very unhappy people out there. I don't know if it was the election or just years of pent up rage, or maybe because this is the least consistent channel in all of YouTube. I don't know. What I do know is this. What do I know? Because of all this anxiety, angst, and depression that I see plastered all over my YouTube page, Facebook, I figured today might be a good day to put out something about being happy. So I put together a little collection of thoughts, most of which come from experts and some of which comes from me, who is obviously not an expert. These people actually work for a living. They do real things, like interact with real people, instead of a camera and a microphone and an audience. I still think that counts as real. You're real to me. Even though we've never met. Probably never met. Probably never going to meet. I'm kind of reclusive. And actually, that's not true. I'm totally an extrovert. But I don't really meet as many of you as I would have thought. How come none of you approach me in the grocery store? It's just a curiosity question. When you see me walking down the aisle just straining which breakfast cereal to buy, do you just kind of put something up on the side of your face and keep walking? I have a feeling that many of you have done that. Or if you haven't, you would do it. And I'm okay with it. Because I really need all my faculties to choose which breakfast cereal is going to be mine. Anyway, so if politics or your fellow man or Facebook has you down, maybe this will help. I hope it helps. Fingers crossed that it helps. A legitimate prison psychologist friend of mine, Dr. Cannon, shared with me his 2-step, 3-item method for how to avoid anxiety and depression. Step 1, avoid the news. Step 2, stop drinking. Oh, and exercise. Those are his exact words. I really thought avoid going to prison would have made his list. It's totally on my list. I don't know if that really works to avoid anxiety and depression, but I can imagine it helps. Later on, I was talking to a relationship counselor friend of mine, which is what you say when you're getting counseling but you're not paying for it. She said, most people's difficulties are the kind that can be solved by just kind of hashing it out with a friend, i.e., it doesn't require paying for professional help to fix your problems. Now, if you're standing on the ledge and you're about to jump, or if you are seriously thinking about doing something dramatic or drastic to yourself, yes, definitely go get some real professional paid for psychological help. But if not, I thought it was kind of comforting that you may be able to solve those problems by just pulling aside a friend of yours and kind of hashing it out with them. I think that's encouraging. I think that means, that you don't need professional help. You're going to save some money for starters, but also that most of our problems are the kind of things that have solutions. Solutions that we can access within our circle of friends. The second point she made, which I thought was fascinating, came from a study that showed that pessimists tend to predict their own future more accurately, whereas optimists tend to be happier. Which begs a really, really interesting question. Do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy? And the last piece of advice from today's show comes from me. Years ago, I was sitting in a financial markets class learning about stocks, and it struck me really poignantly that earnings expectations is actually more important than present-day earnings in most cases. And when I thought about it, I realized I'm exactly the same way. It doesn't really matter how bad my life is at that present moment. If I've got something to look forward to, if I really fundamentally believe that it's gonna be better tomorrow, then today isn't all that bad. Unless, of course, I'm living under a bridge eating underwear soup, in which case today is pretty bad. But in all seriousness, really, if you can look forward to something, present-day woe and present-day difficulty is a lot easier to manage if you really feel like there's a way out. So to summarize, stop watching the news, quit drinking, and start exercising. Also, talk it out with a friend, choose whether or not you want to be happy or you want to be right, and then enjoy whichever one of those you chose. And of course, find something good in your future to hope for, because nothing else is more calculated to up your stock. Hopefully this realigns the universe and fixes everything on Facebook so that we can all go back to seeing what people had for dinner last night and who's having the best vacation ever. Spoiler, it's me. And I'll see you next time passing at the grocery store. Actually, I won't. Just to be fair, I warned you these videos wouldn't be very good. Oh, and we have a Patreon page, so go visit that if you want to get Camera Guy back. Please. Gotta make Camera Guy back. He's my other brother from the same mother. And there's a question for you. How come the emojis on my phone, there's no fingers crossed? I mean, there's like everything else. We all need to complain. I think that could solve the problem. Fingers crossed emoji.